Please like this YouTube video, share it with your family members and friends. The most important part, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon so that you will get notification on every videos.
Hey, Marvel fans! Welcome back to another episode of Marvel TLDR, where we break down the complex world of Marvel Comics into bite-sized pieces. I'm your host Swapnil Saurya, and today's video is about the 26 strongest versions of Wolverine, ranked from weakest to strongest. Wolverine is famously known for being the best there is at what he does, and as fans can attest, what he does isn't always nice. When it comes to comic books, however, and especially within the X-Men corner of the Marvel Universe, you sometimes have to be specific about just which version of the character you're talking about. Whether it's alternate dimensions, time-traveling heroes or dystopian visions of a world gone wrong, chances are you won't have to travel far before finding a version of your favorite character that's just a little different to what you're used to. Even when there's no time-traveling, dimension hopping in play, the regular Marvel Universe contains more than enough Wolverines to go around. We could be talking about Logan himself, or we could be talking about the all-new Wolverine, Laura Kinney. We could be talking about Darken, Logan's son, or we could be referencing Jimmy Howlett, Ultimate Wolverine's son from Earth 1610. There's a running joke within comics that Wolverine is in so many books every month that there have to be multiple copies of the same guy wandering around, and that's never been truer than right now. There's even Old Man Logan, fresh from the future, returned to the present to contend with. We want to know, however, which one among these is the strongest, so we've scoured our long boxes and found the 26 strongest versions of Wolverine and provided a definitive ranking. Read along to find out which Wolverine really is the best at what he does. First is Wolverine Noir. The Marvel Noir imprint saw a world that reimagined heroes and villains in a grim and gritty Prohibition-era America, and depending on whether you read X-Men Noir, Mark of Cain, or Wolverine Noir, you get a different version of Logan. He's either Jim Logan, an experienced bootlegger and perpetual imbiber of drink, or he's James Howlett, a private eye working with his brother Dog Logan and an experienced martial artist. Either way, Wolverine Noir doesn't have claws of his own, choosing to use homemade knife claws to battle gangsters and criminals, which makes him the weakest Wolverine. Second is Wolverine Mangaverse. Marvel Mangaverse is exactly what you'd expect from the name, a short-lived attempt to recreate the Marvel Universe with a manga aesthetic. Manga Wolverine had many of the same traits as his 616 version, however, his bone claws were enhanced to be sharpened energy knives. His right forearm has been lost and replaced, and it's implied that this disability was caused by a fight with Scott Summers, in which he lost an eye. He lacked that killer instinct that Logan usually has though, dropping him low on our list. Third is Marvel Universe vs. Wolverine. Despite Wolverine being something of a lone wolf style of anti-hero, he's always worked best as a character when he's part of a team, be that X-Men or Avengers. What happens, however, when Wolverine is the last hero standing? That's what happens in Marvel Universe vs. Wolverine, a book that shows us a world ravaged by a cannibal-inducing plague, leaving Wolverine to watch his friends killing and eating each other. Despite losing an arm against the Hulk, he fought to save the world, but his disability puts him at a disadvantage compared to other Wolverines. Next is Wolverine Patch. Wolverine Patch is a 5-issue miniseries written by Larry Hama and illustrated by Andrea Di Vito set to launch in March. It pairs two of Marvel's most iconic eye patch enthusiasts together for an espionage-driven story. The series takes place many years in the past, as Wolverine explores the crime-ridden island of Madripoor, where he has established a name for himself under the alias of Patch. Alongside his frequent ally Archie, Patch embarks on a recon mission that goes wrong, welcoming in the presence of the original Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was a World War II veteran who became an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. before eventually taking over as the head of the world's largest spy organization. Known for his surly disposition and untrusting personality, he was a fixture throughout Marvel's various titles for decades. Eventually, after the events of Original Sin by Jason Aaron and Mike Deodato Jr., the character faded into the shadows in favor of Nick Fury Jr., who more closely resembled the Marvel Cinematic Universe's incarnation of the character, played by Samuel L. Jackson. Since this switch, the original Nick Fury has played a supporting role as the Unseen, a spectral observer similar to Walter the Water. However, since Wolverine patch is set in the past, Fury's appearance here will see him in a more traditional position as a super spy. Next is Jimmy Hudson. After Secret Wars, what was remade of the destroyed multiverse was a Prime Earth, upon which mostly the old 616 exists, but more and more frequently, survivors of the Ultimate Universe have been found. Jimmy Howlett was the son of Wolverine that was entrusted to his fellow soldier and friend James Hudson during the Iraq War. His last name was changed to Hudson to mask his true identity, which wasn't revealed until years later after a car accident. Possessing claws and a healing factor, Jimmy Hudson resembles his father in more ways than one but lacks his dad's experience. Next is Mr. Murder Hands. The Earth of Spider-Gwen is one that has many different reimaginings of the heroes and villains we know and love, one of whom is senior SHIELD agent James Howlett, aka Mr. Murder Hands. His past is never truly revealed, but the story goes that he was a powerful samurai warrior, cursed with immortality as even hell is not deserving of a killer like him. He's then taken, mind-wiped and trained to work for SHIELD by the mysterious Weapon X Corporation. We never really see his full potential though, which is why he's so low down. Next is the Hooded Man. Hailing from an alternate future, the Hooded Man was a Wolverine who had joined a group called the New Defenders, who used the body of a dead Galactus to travel back in time to the present day in order to save the people of their world. They came from a future devastated by war and natural disaster and were paving the way for a full-scale migration of their people to the past. This version of Wolverine seems similar in almost every way to Old Man Logan, albeit one driven to desperation by future events, and therefore lacking the focus of some of his counterparts. Next is Days of Future Past. Perhaps the most famous of all of the X-Men's alternate futures, Days of Future Past hinged on one single act, the murder of Senator Robert Kelly. Much like the movie of the same name, this assassination at the hands of a mutant turns the nation's security forces against mutant-kind in irreparable ways. The Wolverine of this timeline is one of the remaining X-Men left alive, and in the original storyline, he sacrifices himself fighting against a deadly sentinel, who scorches all the flesh from his adamantium bones, seemingly killing him. Next is Ultimate Wolverine. Hailing from Earth 1610, this version of Wolverine is the one found in the Ultimate line of Marvel Comics and is most famous for being a version of Logan that will go even further than his 616 counterpart in order to get the job done. Not only does he kill a mutant child who is giving off lethal doses of toxic gases and poisons, killing 265 people in his hometown, but he mortally stabs Magneto multiple times before succumbing to the Master of Magnetism's attacks. He's a killer, sure, but is he the leader and strong hero that other Wolverines are? Well, perhaps not. Also, he died and never came back, so while he's great, he's far from the best. Next is the Wolverine. The definitive version of Wolverine for most people, comics fans or otherwise. Hugh Jackman has portrayed James Howlett in 9 feature films and embodied the role for nearly 20 years. This Wolverine hasn't had quite as many adventures as he has done during the nearly 45 years he's been around, but he's saved the world before and survives to be an old man, protecting the future of the mutant race one last time. His limitations, however, are movie budgets and lack of comic book physics, making him no match for some other Wolverines. Next is General James Howlett. The Governor-General of the Dominion of Canada and Viceroy of Her Majesty's Expedition to Shangri-La, James Howlett of Earth 12025 was, along with his partner and lover Hercules, is one of the greatest heroes of his world. He appears mostly in the second volume of Extreme X-Men, joining a team of multi-dimensional mutants that hunt down evil Xaviers across many dimensions. He also has bones coated in adamantine, the metal of the gods, which gives him a natural resistance to psychic attacks. Next is Ranka. Ranka is the great-great-granddaughter of Wolverine from hundreds of years into an alternate future. First encountered by the original Guardians of the Galaxy, Ranka rules over a human colony with a tyrannical fist, despite her heroic family lineage. It's revealed that almost all of Wolverine's descendants were murderous tyrants of one form or another, and Ranka reveres her great-great-grandfather's memory as the Brood Slayer, obsessed with his exploits and even owning one of his broken-off claws. She is, however, driven by anger and lacking true strength, making her villainous ways a detriment rather than a strength. Next is Hydra Wolverine. Having come from Weapon X, you'd think Wolverine had had his fill of brainwashing. Unfortunately, some people just get all the bad luck, and Logan found himself possessed by Hydra during the storyline Enemy of the State. Hydra, joining forces with the Hand and the Dawn of the White Light, killed and resurrected Wolverine under their control. A powerful new ally for them, Hydra used him to steal SHIELD defense plans and slice his way through the superhero community until he was captured and cured. Hydra is always defeated, however, and this Wolverine was nowhere near as effective as they would have liked. Next is X-23. After 21 years in Marvel canon, Wolverine's daughter Laura Kinney, also known as X-23, Wolverine, and Talon, is dead, and she's probably not coming back. Formerly believed to be a clone of Logan, but later revealed to be his biological daughter, Laura has been fighting alongside the X-Men for years, and recently fell while safeguarding humanity and fighting to give mutant-kind a last chance at survival. Recently, Synch has been storing Laura's psychic imprint within his mind after her body was destroyed. This kept Talon alive in a very real sense, since until very recently, the X-Men were able to use psychic imprints to resurrect their fallen heroes. Synch saving Talon therefore allowed them to keep communicating and made it possible for her to potentially return. However, in X-Men number 31, Synch is called on to save the X-Men from the Sentinel known as Nimrod, and has to let go of Laura's imprint to do it. Next is Weapon X. Age of Apocalypse was wild. Taking over the X-Men line during the late 90s, OA explored a dark and grim future in which Xavier had died and Apocalypse had been allowed to take control. Wolverine in this bleak future was known as Weapon X, and is still a member of the X-Men, albeit a very different team than we're used to. He's more feral than his 616 counterpart, and he lost his hand in a fight with Cyclops, but his claws still pop through the stump. Next is Dark Claw. The Amalgam line of comics saw heroes from the Marvel Universe merge with the heroes of the DC Universe, to form entirely new, yet familiar, heroes. One of these was Dark Claw, merging Wolverine and Batman. Logan Wayne was witness to the murder of his parents when he was 5, and went on to enlist in the Weapon X program. There he was given an adamantium-coated skeleton, and later returned to New Gotham City as Dark Claw to avenge his parents' death. Mixing Batman and Wolverine makes for one formidable superhero, though while he may look the coolest, he's not quite the best. Next is Old Man Logan. The source for 2017's Logan movie, the original Old Man Logan storyline envisioned a post-apocalyptic wasteland where an older Wolverine lives with his family in hiding. It's revealed that Logan was manipulated into killing the X-Men years ago, and has given up the mantle of Wolverine to live out the rest of his days in peace. He's called back into action, however, by the evil deeds of a gang of Hulks, and is currently living in the modern Marvel Universe. His decades of experience, as well as his desire to rewrite history, makes him one of the strongest Wolverines around. Next is Darken. In 1946, Logan and his Japanese wife Itsu are expecting their first child when Itsu is murdered by the Winter Soldier in order to draw Wolverine out of hiding. Unbeknownst to everyone, the child survives, due to his inherited healing factor, and is taken by the villain Romulus. As Darkin grew, he was trained and manipulated by Romulus, who told him that Wolverine was his father, convincing him that it was he who killed Itsu. Darkin is powerful, driven and extremely intent on murdering Wolverine. He's absolutely one of the strongest versions of Wolverine, but he's not the best. Next is Wolverine. The Wolverine, aka James Howlett, aka Logan, aka Patch, aka Lucky Jim. They say that the original is the best, and that's certainly true when it comes to this adamantium-laced mutant hero, even if he isn't the strongest. First created in 1974, Wolverine has become a firm fan favorite over the years, appearing in thousands of comics, hundreds of TV episodes and 10 movies, not to mention almost every item of merchandise imaginable. He's fought against almost every villain, and most heroes for that matter, in the last 45 years, and time and again proved that he really is the best there is at what he does. Next is Feral Wolverine. When you have adamantium fused to every bone in your body, and then have that same adamantium ripped out again through every pore by Magneto, you'd probably turn feral too. It wasn't just the trauma of these experiences that brought about a feral version of Wolverine though. It turns out, the adamantium was holding back a secondary mutation of Wolverine, one that was slowly turning him into an animalistic version of himself. While he was strong, he also lacked any control and could easily be beaten by these other Wolverines. Next is Zombie Wolverine. Marvel Zombies is a fun, if slightly morbid, series of comics that imagines what would happen if Marvel heroes were turned into mindless monsters. Wolverine in this reality was bitten by both Zombie Hawkeye and Zombie Captain America, overwhelming his healing factor. He has a cybernetic right arm, due to losing his original in a fight against the Silver Surfer, which saw him gaining cosmic powers once he, ate the corpse of the Silver Surfer. He's pretty strong, but also made of decaying flesh, so easier to defeat. Next is Venom Old Man Logan. The Venomverse event takes its cues from its spiritual predecessor Spider-Verse, instead, exploring a multiverse of Venoms. One such alternate universe saw a continuation of the Old Man Logan storyline. In this world, Logan is captured by Archangel, who wishes to punish him for murdering the rest of the X-Men. They unleash the venom-infected T-Rex at him, and when Logan is swallowed whole, the symbiote attaches to him instead, finding Old Man Logan a superior host. Venom is strong, but also unpredictable and lacking ethics, which would ultimately hinder Logan. It also comes with its own set of weaknesses, so there's that downside. Next is Vampire Wolverine. When you mix a feral, practically immortal mutant with the blood of a vampire, you get, well, not much difference really. Apart from the more evil personality and the desire to drink your blood, you might not notice much difference between regular Wolverine and his vampiric counterpart. We kid, but this version of Wolverine is revealed in an issue of What If, where his healing factor prevents him being turned in any usual way. Instead, when he kills and feasts on Dracula himself, Logan becomes the new Lord of the Vampires. He has, however, got the same weaknesses as any vampire, such as daylight and stakes. Next is Wolverine. The Red Right Hand were a cult-like group with a mysterious vendetta against Wolverine. To that end, they summoned an unnamed demon to possess Logan and use this possession to force Wolverine to murder his way through his friends. Nicknamed Wolverine, this demon killed a number of close friends of Logan's while the latter's soul was trapped in hell. It takes the full force of the X-Men fighting externally, and Jean Grey, along with Logan's soul, battling internally to cast the demon out and send it back to hell, making him a relatively strong, but short-lived Wolverine. Next is Weapon H. A relatively new character on this list, Weapon H is the personification of the question, what would happen if Wolverine and the Hulk were the same guy? Wolverine has a long history with the Hulk, but this is the first time the fusing of the two characters had been so fully explored. Weapon H was Clayton, an ex-military contractor with a conscience, experimented on by Weapon X's Batch H facility, who specialized in creating Hulk/Wolverine hybrids designed to hunt and kill mutants. His training and physical form make for a terrifying combination, but he still lacks experience. Last is Phoenix Wolverine. The latest issues of Thor seem to be telling two stories concurrently, one of the present-day Odinson, and one of Old King Thor and his granddaughters in the far-distant future. Old King Thor investigates what appears to be the death of all life in the cosmos, when he is confronted with a familiar yet strange sight, the final host of the Phoenix Force, an old and immensely powerful Logan. Little is known about this version, but the mix of Wolverine and Phoenix is not to be underestimated. Thank you for your support. Next time I will make video on Deadpool variants. See you on the next video. Keep enjoying, keep watching. Bye.